Hi, friends and superfans globally. You know who you are. Coach is back after a summertime vacation where I did some amazing adventures, and I want to talk to you about a couple of these things. So, school is back in. Coach is here to guide you in the four pillars of your daily life and your existence. And let me tell you something that I did this summer that I want to talk about with you first. Now, look, see this? It's a big map. And in this red area that I've outlined, that is the property, the 120 some odd thousand, that's right, 120 some odd thousand acres of land that encompasses the Philmont Scout Ranch. Now, I was there in August, and I spent 2 weeks there. Now, let me just show you, quick little thing. This is my crew. This is the patch that I earned. That's all fine and well. I was with the Boy Scouts, my son's troop. I was a parent advisor. The bottom line is this. I was off the grid for 12 days. That's right, 12 days. No phone, no outside contact, just the crew in the mountains traveling for 100 days backpacking on that map that I just showed you. Now, I've never done that before. Most of you out there in the land that we all inhabit have never done that before. Maybe some of you on a military operation, and some of you extraordinary people might have gone on a backpacking trip. But for 12 days off the grid, who's done that? Well, I certainly haven't, and neither of the rest of those boys, except one of them who was our crew leader. In any case, the point that I want to talk to you about today is, while I was on this trek, the first few days are just getting acclimatized to being in the mountains at upper elevation, figuring out how to camp. It's monsoon season in northern New Mexico. The rain, the backpack, the food, everything. So 2 or 3 days just getting settled on that. And then each day after that, for about 5 days, I was worried. Yes, Coach is a normal human being. At least I think that I'm normal. You may not think so, but the point is, for about 5 days, as a normal person, I was obsessed with what was happening in the outside world. I had no contact with it. I was obsessed in a way that I was thinking about what I wanted to talk with you about when I came back, what the development of the Four Pillars project is. What would I be doing when I came back as far as my coaching? Look, that drove me nuts for about 5 days. And at some point along the route, after about 8 days in, I had this blissful notion that came to me. And it remained with me for the remaining 4 days. And that was this. The ranch at base camp required us to, of course, have a whole itinerary. They knew where we were. And they said that in the event of an emergency, now it could be a positive emergency, like somebody maybe had a child that was born, or a negative emergency, some disaster happened in the outside world, like that happened to one of your family members or a crew member. They would come find us. They knew how to find us. They would contact us. At that point, about 8 days in, 7 days in, I realized that no one was coming to contact us. And I suddenly settled into the notion that nothing on the outside world mattered. The only thing that mattered to Coach and those of us on that crew was our existence on the trail with each other. So my point being is that the minute to minute, the second, the microsecond, the Instagramming, the YouTubing, the constantly texting, the calling, the news channels that have a constant feed on whatever's happening, the need for us compulsively to have our phones in our pocket. I mean, even if the phone is not in your pocket, somehow you feel like it's buzzing and you reach for it and you realize, oh, nothing actually happened. None of that existed at Philmont, in the mountains, in the woods. And it brought great peace to Coach. I no longer was thinking about how I was operating on the trail. I was better at that. I was no longer thinking about what was happening in the outside world and the micromanaging of what would happen to my life when I returned back to civilization. I was suddenly fully immersed in the bliss and the pure joy of being in the mountains, Nobody needed me. I realized that nobody was coming to find me. Therefore, nothing wrong was happening, and I could enjoy being present in the moment. So, part of the four pillars world is this goal daily in some way to find some spiritual bliss, some attachment. I mean, you don't have to be the Pope in that. We've talked about that. The penny version of that is just what part of spirituality that you found for yourself that day that made you a little bit more enlightened. While I was gone, I found about 3 or 4 days of utter peace. Off the grid, nobody was coming to find me. I didn't worry any longer about what my role was in the outside world. I was just able to enjoy where I was at that time with the people that I was with. And taking that back and coming home after having finished the trek, I've realized that even for Coach, it's very important to try and heed my own advice on a daily basis and settle in and enjoy a present moment each and every day. This is part of the four pillars spirituality component that I talk about. And it's often sometimes difficult to get there, even for Coach. But Philmon allowed me to get to that place, and it reminded me in a very hard way that being off the grid, being unattached to the microsecond connectivity of the world is really very refreshing. So those are my thoughts on how we begin this new semester after the summer break. So I'm happy to be back with you and look forward to talking with you soon. Talk to you soon. Bye.